Famer LaDainian Tomlinson thinks the Eagles are currently the most underhyped team in the NFL. LT said that last year Philly still managed to win their last 4 games of the season to make the playoffs, all while injuries depleted their roster. Shannon, do you agree with LT here?
I do, and I've been trying to tell Skip that. That's why we got these 5 cases on it. He keeps talking about the Cowboys. His team is primed to launch. Ain't launching nowhere. You're not going anywhere. Failure to launch. I love what the Eagles have done. They get D-Jack. D-Jack's going to come back healthy. They get Alshon. Now, Alshon is going to be a little later. It might not be to the beginning of the season, or it might be 2, 3, 4 games into the season before he comes back. But they made the trade for Marquise Goodwin. They signed Jalen Reagor. So now, Skip, they got speed, something they really needed on the outside. Zach Ertz, we know what he represents, one of the 3 or 4 best tight ends in all of football. I got him right behind Kelsey and Kittle as far as the tight end ranking. So offensive line, they drafted a guy in the first round, I think, last year, Skip, maybe 2 years ago. He's going to replace Jason Peters. Now, they're still in talks with Jason Peters. He wants to finish his career in Philly. So you see how that plays out. Lane Johnson comes back. Kelsey's one of the best centers in football. So I like what they've done, Skip. And they made the trade for Darius Slay. So teams are not going to just be able to pitch and catch up and down the field, because old big play Slay will put a stop to that. And remember what he did to Amari, Skip. You remember what he did to Amari in Detroit, right, Skip Bayless? Had him locked up, wouldn't let him out. So you'll see that twice a year now. So I like what the Eagles have done. Everybody keeps talking about all these other teams, and rightfully so. San Francisco, they're loaded. Russell Wilson is improvisational whiz. They will be better, but it flying under the radar like that old stealth bomber, Skip. You know, we fly so low, radar can't pick us up. We low to the ground. We just hovering. And before you know it, how do they sneak in here and win the division again? Because we sneaky like that.
Well, you can just sneak right on down to second place in the NFC East next year. I'll give you second place. I'll give you big play Slay. Nope. That was a great move. It was an expensive move. It cost a lot to trade for him. It cost a lot to pay him. Okay. It cost you Malcolm Jenkins, who was the quarterback and leader of your defense. He's now obviously a New Orleans Saint. Look, I love LaDainian Tomlinson. I love it when we have him on the show. He concluded his breakdown of the Eagles as, so Philadelphia is going to be scary. Wrong. The scariest team in the East is now the new beast. It's now the Dallas Cowboys. Shannon, I'm sorry, but even Bill Barnwell, the ESPN NFL expert and analyst, broke down every team's offseason and ranked them over the last few days on ESPN.com. And his conclusion was that Philadelphia had the 17th best offseason, while Dallas had the 5th best offseason. A lot of people, many of the draft experts, thought Dallas had the first best draft, the best draft. I told you that they took 6 straight players, all who fell to them, all who should have gone much higher. And my team took CeeDee Lamb at 17, and then a couple of picks later, your Eagles took Jalen Reagor. I about fell out of my chair a second time over that for the wrong reason. Jalen Reagor went way higher than any draft expert had mocked him. I'm mocking that pick right now because I thought it was a silly pick because there were 4 or 5 other receivers I would have taken over Jalen Reagor. God bless you. Hope it works out. But LaDainian is he's just marveling that they got Marquise Goodwin. Marquise Goodwin from the 49ers. He caught 12 balls and 1 touchdown pass for the 49ers last year. And in the end, Shannon, but they got all these guys who were hurt coming back. Well, the Cowboys, according to Pro Football Focus, now have the 3rd best receiving core in all of football. I'll take that. Ezekiel Elliott underachieved last year. I think he's a candidate for bounce-back player of the year, like we talked about Tom Brady being. And help me out. does Philly, I know they have Miles Sanders. We had him on the show, love him. But is he Zeke?
Yep.
No, he's not Zeke. And again, Dak is better than Carson Wentz. I've said it from the start. He will back that up if he, in fact, signs his deal or plays under the franchise tag. I hope he gets resolved.
Better, we'll pay him better.
I'm going to. Okay. But you've got a quarterback quandary and controversy brewing in Philadelphia. In the second round, they took my guy Jalen Hurts because they don't believe in Carson Wentz. We talked about how Jerry doesn't really buy into Dak because he's now tagged him. Well, help me out.
Right.
If you take a quarterback in the second round, it's because you're not sold on your quarterback. You don't believe in him as the leader and playmaker of your franchise, and you don't trust that he's going to stay healthy because right on schedule, right on cue, when the Eagles finally eked into the back door of the playoffs, thanks to Dallas, and they won the division at 9-7, they got a home playoff game against Seattle, and what happened to your man Wentz, W-I-N-C, as in ouch. He got hurt right away. He was gone quickly. He completed 1 of 4 passes for a grand total of 3 yards. That's all you got. And LT was, again, LaDainian was lauding the great finish last year for Carson Wentz. He scored 28 points a game. And everybody's talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Well, the reason they are is because Carson Wentz wasn't really all that impressive. They beat the 3-13 Redskins. They beat the 4-12 Giants twice in the last 4 games, and they beat my sorry Cowboys. Dak got his shoulder banged up. He couldn't practice that week.
Oh, not that.
And he was not very good in that game. He missed Tavon on a wide-open throw that could have helped tie the football game. So 3-13, 2 4-12s, 1 8-8. It wasn't a great finish to the year for Carson Wentz, and that's what Doug Peterson and the whole management, all the way to the owner, that's what they're saying to you. We took Jalen Hurts for a reason. They're going to play Jalen Hurts a lot, the way Lamar Jackson played as a rookie, getting maybe 10 snaps a game on the way to maybe beating out Carson Wentz. So in the end, my defense wasn't very good last year. Well, look at Gerald McCoy and Dontari Poe and Clinton Dix. And the Wolf Hunter says he's 1,000% ready to come back from his neck injury. And Trevon Diggs and Reggie Robinson are ball hawks that they drafted who can also interchange at safety. All of a sudden, they've got Aldon Smith, who I think is going to be a fairy tale comeback story. Randy Gregory could be also. And that Bradley Anae that they drafted in the 5th round out of Utah, he plays with edge and he can rush off the edge. So all of a sudden, my defense is going to be significantly better than it was last year. Too much firepower on offense, too much of an upgrade on defense, a much better kicker in Greg Zuerlein, a top 5 kicker, as opposed to Brett the Fret, who probably cost us a couple of games last year. And finally, no more Jason Garrett. We've got a made man. Mike McCarthy did win a Super Bowl once upon a time in Green Bay, and he did in his career coach Montana and Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and now I hope he gets to coach Dak Prescott and take him up a level. I love my team and my chances.
Well, I just hopefully, but I heard they got a lot of massage therapists in the Dallas area, so, you know, Mike McCarthy loved to get his massages on Saturday when they got walkthrough. But, Skip, you do know, like, the Cowboys and the Eagles play the exact same opponents. So while you're bashing on the Giants in Washington, you do realize the Cowboys beat those teams too, right? So you just played them at a different time of year. So you're criticizing the Eagles for playing them late, but you was hyping. Remember, you guys played those guys early when you had jumped out to that great record, and you was pounding your chest like King Kong, like, look at us. Yeah, the Eagles ain't got nothing on us. And look what happened. You got dealt with. Walk it to them, beat you guys. So can you imagine if Wentz had Gallup and Amari down the stretch and his starting offense and his offensive line that was intact? Woo! Ain't no telling what he would have done. No telling.
Shannon, he's really moonwalk it to him because he moonwalked all the way out of the top 100, according to one of those websites who ranked it the other day. Well, and my point to you was go ahead.
But you say, okay, you say he moonwalked out of the top 100. Now Dak is 46. So shouldn't he be compensated in front of Deshaun Watson, in front of Matt Ryan? So that's $40 million right there. That's $40 million. I'm glad you brought that back up.
He's ranked 46th?
Yeah.
Okay, now look at the close. The Eagles got to play the Redskins and the Giants twice and the Cowboys in the last 4 games. What do you always tell me, the Hall of Famer that you are? It's all about expectations. There were none on the Eagles because they were down to their 3rd-string receivers. Carson Wentz got to go in with no pressure because there was no expectation, and he played spirited football. He was game. He was a baller. He was a fighter. They were an overachieving football team down the stretch because nobody expected them to do anything. And suddenly, with the expectation to win the division next year, I don't love Carson Wentz's chances with Jalen Hurts looking over his shoulder pads.
I love it. I love it. I had expectations.
Yeah,
Skip, that's why I won the 5 cases from you, because I told you what was going to happen. We're going to win out. You guys are going to lose 3 of your last 4, and we're going to win the division. You said, no way, you don't trust walk it to, bounce it to him. Limp it to him. W-I-N-C-E-O, Wentz. Moonwalking. And my guy, all he did was just keep on gliding to the NFC East title.
Oh, good luck.